Welcome back to Klepper's Corner, the only historical recap that asks, what if time didn't just march forward? What if it occasionally tripped over its shoelaces, fell down a manhole, got probed by aliens, and then gave birth at Disneyland? This week we're digging into the weird, the wild, and the downright, wait, that actually happened, moments from July 1st to July 7th. Because why should history just be about wars and treaties when we could be talking about cloned sheep, flying reptiles, and founding fathers dying in poetic sync like it's a Shakespearean finale? So strap in. This isn't your AP US history class. This is Weird Week in History, and it's brought to you by the same universe that thought, let's name a bikini after a nuclear test site. Segment 1, July 1st. France executes a teen for reading Voltaire. Let's kick off this carnival of historical madness in 1766, when France did what France sometimes did best: absolutely lose its mind over not being saluted. Francois Jean de la Barre, a teenager from Abbeville, didn't tip his hat at a Catholic procession. And in response, the state said, you know what this calls for? Beheading, torture, and setting the guy on fire. Oh, and just for flair, they nailed a copy of Voltaire's Dictionnaire philosophique to his chest. Because nothing says we're not threatened by Enlightenment thinkers like literally crucifying one to a corpse. It wasn't justice, it was a church-sponsored literary critique. Segment 2, July 1st. Aliens freeze a French farmer. Flash forward to 1965. Maurice Massé, a lavender farmer in France, hears a strange noise and walks outside to find aliens. Naturally, as one does. According to Maurice, they freeze him in place with some sort of alien freeze ray and then just hover there for a bit like awkward European tourists. Then they vanish. To recap, July 1st in France involved one guy being burned alive over a book and another guy being iced by E.T. This country contains multitudes. Segment 3, July 1st. Sony Walkman drops, changes reality. Also on July 1st, but in 1979, Sony decided we all needed a way to avoid small talk. Enter the Walkman, a personal stereo cassette player so revolutionary it turned every sidewalk into a music video and every introvert into a headphone ninja. Before this, music was communal. After this, it was leave me alone, I'm listening to Kiss and contemplating mortality. Thanks to this little device, the world was never the same, and your dad never stopped talking about how vinyl is warmer. Segment 4, July 2nd, Alligator Falls from the sky. In 1843, Charleston, South Carolina saw something no one was prepared for. An alligator fell from the sky. That's right, a reptile-based airstrike from nature herself. A waterspout apparently scooped this gator up and hurled it down like Zeus playing darts. It wasn't just raining cats and dogs, it was raining prehistoric death logs. Imagine explaining that to your neighbor. Yeah, Phil's roof caved in. Gator. From the clouds. Segment 5, July 2nd, World UFO Day. Also on July 2nd, it's World UFO Day, a day for alien enthusiasts, skeptics, and that guy in the basement with 400 pages of redacted files and a shrine to Mulder. It commemorates, well, a lot of sightings. Mostly it reminds us that humans will believe almost anything if the government denies it just vaguely enough. Segment 6, July 2nd, Amelia Earhart vanishes. And in 1937, Amelia Earhart disappeared somewhere over the Pacific. A pioneer, an icon, and a tragic mystery. She just vanished. No wreckage, no signals, just decades of speculation. Was it mechanical failure, sabotage, alien abduction, joining a witness protection program for female pilots? We don't know, and that not knowing has kept her in the public imagination longer than any successful landing ever could. Segment 7, July 3rd, gunfighter dies in wagon mishap. Clay Allison, a legendary gunfighter with a flair for drama, dies in 1887 by falling off a wagon. That's right, this guy survived duels, wars, bar fights, only to go out like a cartoon prospector. It's like if Batman died tripping over his own cape. Sometimes death has a sense of humor. Segment 8, July 3rd, Brian Jones and Jim Morrison. Same date, same fate. Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones dies on July 3rd, 1969. Jim Morrison of The Doors dies on July 3rd, 1971. Both were 27. Because apparently July 3rd is when rock says, you know what? That's enough genius for today. The 27 Club isn't just eerie. It's almost like the universe booked its own Woodstock lineup and decided to keep it exclusive. Segment 9, July 4th. Jefferson and Adams die on the same day. Here's a history plot twist for you. On July 4th, 1826, exactly 50 years after the Declaration of Independence, both Thomas Jefferson and John Adams die within hours of each other. It's like the Founding Fathers staged their own dramatic finale. Act 3, Founding Ghosts. Adams' last words were reportedly, "Jefferson lives," which is awkward since Jefferson had already died. Maybe the afterlife has a wait list. Segment 10, July 4th. First baby born at Disneyland. 1979, Disneyland. A woman goes into labor at the happiest place on earth, which probably became the sweatiest, screamiest place on earth for about 45 minutes. Teresa Salcedo becomes the first human born in Disneyland. And honestly, if you can enter life in a place with churros, fireworks, and overpriced plush toys, you're doing all right. Segment 11, July 5th. The Bikini debuts. 1946, Louis Reinhardt debuts the Bikini. He names it after Bikini Atoll, a nuclear test site. Yes, the swimsuit that transformed beaches forever is named after nuclear fallout, because nothing says summer fun like radioactive branding. He wanted it to be shocking. Mission accomplished. It was so scandalous that no professional model would wear it. He had to hire a new dancer. Segment 12, July 6th. Lenin meets McCartney. 1957, John Lennon meets Paul McCartney for the first time at a church event, because where else would the Beatles begin? From a handshake at a picnic to global musical domination, just goes to show your high school band could still go platinum if it includes two of the greatest songwriters in human history. No pressure. Segment 13, July 7th, the Roswell Incident. July 7th, 1947, something crashes in Roswell. The military says it's a flying disc, then backpedals and says, actually, weather balloon. Cue decades of conspiracy theories, books, documentaries, and that one uncle who brings it up every Thanksgiving. Even if it was just a balloon, the way the government handled it guaranteed people would think aliens were involved. It's like throwing a tarp over your car and saying, nothing to see here. Segment 14, July 7th. Mary Surratt becomes first woman executed by U.S. government. 1865, Mary Surratt becomes the first woman executed by the U.S. federal government. Her crime? Conspiring to assassinate Abraham Lincoln. A somber milestone in the history of justice and a chilling reminder that even history's footnotes can have tragic endings. Segment 15, July 7th. Keith Reinhardt disappears. Like his novel. 1988, sports writer Keith Reinhardt vanishes while writing a novel about a guy who vanished. Same town, same building, same disappearance. Either he took method writing too far or the simulation we live in just glitched again. Whatever happened, it remains one of the eeriest true crime meta-mysteries of all time. It's like real life said, hold my plot twist. So there you have it. 7 days in July packed with space cows, portable cassette players, mutual presidential ghosting, and swimsuits with Fallout metaphors. If you thought history was just a dusty timeline of battles and laws, think again. It's a full-blown reality show with plot twists, absurd cameos, and more unresolved mysteries than a Netflix docuseries. See you next time for another weird spin through the annals of time. Because if we don't laugh at the absurdity of the past, we might cry at the present. This has been Klepper's Corner, Weird Week in History. Stay weird.